Rich people admire other rich and successful people. Poor people resent them. I kind of briefly talked about it once before, but like in this world, in this day and age now, wealth and success, like there's this huge divide between like the mindset of the rich people and the poor people. There's this huge divide in how they got there. Like, and so understanding the differences can help shed light on a lot of like the different dynamics of like admiration and like resentment within these two groups, right? Like understanding why and how rich people admire others will help you to stop resenting them, right? Like huge mindset shift. And so here's a couple of things. One, rich people, they share success, and that in turn creates admiration. Right, the rich people, the rich individuals, they understand dedication and like the hard work and the sacrifices it's going to take to be able to achieve success. They understand that. And so because of that, when they see other people who've reached those heights or more, they appreciate the journey, and they actually respect the accomplishments that those individuals had to take. It's a mutual thing. And having that understanding that, like have that mutual understanding is going to really foster good admiration amongst these different elite, successful, powerful individuals, right? While a lot of times, like it starts to build resentment when you don't understand the amount of dedication and hard work that it takes, right? And there's a lot of time poor individuals believe that maybe these rich people were just born into money. Right? Maybe they were just born into money. And I'll tell you right now, if you don't already have a lot of these mindsets, even if you're born into money, does not mean that you're rich or wealthy or successful. You have to do the dedication. You have to do that hard work and make the sacrifices. Otherwise, let's say you're born into money, you're just blowing the money. You're not making the sacrifices that somebody else made to have that money. So you're not really rich. You're going to be poor. All right. And so it's a matter of looking at and understanding and appreciating the hard work and dedication it took to get to a place. All right. Another big thing that I talk about is rich, successful people. They always seek out connections with people who have that same drive and ambition as them. And so because of that, when they're admiring those other, high achievers, they start to open up the doors to all these different opportunities and partnerships. As this really what's going to be extremely important when it comes to networking. Build partnerships with other successful people. And that's what successful, wealthy, rich individuals do. They associate with other rich, successful, and wealthy individuals. While a lot of times, if you don't want to associate with them, you're not going to ever be one because you don't even want to be around them, right? And so that's that next piece. Learn from success is so important because rich people, they view other successful people as a source of motivation, right? Like they look at them and they see that's success. That is what I want. I want to learn from that person. While poor people, they see that person who's making a lot of money and a lot of times they feel it's like, yeah, they don't have the behaviors that I would probably want. Well, how do you even know that? You don't know the behaviors. You just see what you see. And so a lot of times these rich people, they believe that there's valuable lessons that they can learn from that people, valuable moral lessons that they can learn from rich and successful people. While on the other hand, like a lot of times poor people don't feel like, rich people could potentially teach them anything, especially about values. There's a lot of times. So one thing I would encourage you to do is write down all the like the negative thoughts that you have about wealthy people, successful people, rich people. Write them all down. And one thing to help, right? Having a positive mindset is also extremely important, just because admiring successful individuals really it just cultivates a really positive mindset of money. Right? It allows you to really focus on the possibilities and opportunities that money can bring, that success can bring. instead of like dwelling on envy or resentment towards those people who've done that. Like you can look at someone else and say, wow, that person is extremely successful. And I know that they're doing great things to get that money. And they're probably doing even better things with that money, right? Because they likely are. Otherwise, if they're doing things that didn't work, they would not be able to maintain it and continue to build on it, right? And so having a positive mindset towards the opportunities that money as a tool can bring is fantastic. I'll say that resentment typically stems from jealousy or envy. Resentment stems from envy. It's one thing that I've kind of learned while working with and meeting and communicating with other individuals. Like poor individuals, they typically resent the rich people or the wealthy or the successful people due to them just being envious. Like they perceive that these people with wealth and success have just this unfair advantage and like these opportunities that like they don't have. And because of that, it starts to lead to resentment and bitterness. Oh yeah, I that would have never happened to me. I would have never been able to actually do these kind of things. Or, they just got like that because they were born into it. But you can still have it, right? There's this perceived inequality that poor individuals have because they often feel like there's a sense of injustice when they compare their circumstances to those of the wealthy. Like they are done wrong because of specifically the fact that they were just poor, right? And so they perceive this inequality, perceiving this inequality in itself could really fuel a lot more resentment towards those successful individuals, right? And so it really starts to bring a reminder all the time to them whenever they think about money, wealth, success, that I'm not equal to them. Like, and people treat me wrong. They treat me differently. I have less opportunities. People present less opportunities to me because of it. People don't want to network and communicate with me because of it. And they start to just represent like disparity of like wealth and opportunities, and that you can feel it, and it doesn't feel good. It's very thick. And then also on top of all that, poor people have not persevered through all of the obstacles. And so because they haven't, I can promise you that on your journey to success, you're going to want to quit 5 billion times. And if you're going to want to quit 5 billion times, but you don't quit ever, any of those 5 billion times, after that 5 billionth time that you wanted to quit, but you didn't, you're in a very different place than you were if you had quit beforehand or anywhere along that journey. And poor people, there's some point where they stop, right? At some point where they stop. And so they don't know what the rest of the journey would have been. They don't understand it. And so they have this lack of understanding, which starts to create resentment towards the rich people because they just don't understand. They're not aware of all the challenges and hard work that it takes to actually achieve the success and the wealth. Like, they don't actually truly understand, and so they can't appreciate it. And so without insights to those struggles and like the sacrifices of the wealthy, it's so easy for poor individuals to just like have this fester of negative feelings towards rich people. Okay. And so this divide between rich people admiring, other successful and rich people and the poor people resenting them, like it's crazy. And it's rooted in like, it's all about your mindset, your perception, and your understanding. All right. And so, yes, admiration amongst the wealthy individuals, like for them, fosters great positive outlooks for like opportunities and growth. And for them, like it's amazing, and it helps build them, and they build a really good community, really good network. However, resentment amongst the poor individuals and like those less fortunate creates so many different barriers to just developing, right? If you hate someone with money, you won't be someone with money because you're going to hate yourself. And so you're not like, If you hate that people have money, you're going to hate that you have money. And so you're always going to give it up. You're always going to give it up. And so if you can just acknowledge and address the differences, right? These differences, you can really start to bridge that gap of like understanding and building support for other individuals, learning from the rich and wealthy people. You actually open up your ears and understand that society.